Hi, it's Saturday night, the 12th of December, and day 346 of my journey to business alignment. Today's Living the Dream experience was really a happy one for me. By the end of the day today, all of the pages of my website, including the account page and all the pages you can't see until you order products and click on this button and go to this link to the private pages and to the landing page where the video lessons are, all of them are finished and working beautifully. It's the Ontaport thank you emails and making the product order thank you pages that have to be set up so that my products are protected from anyone getting to those thank you pages and being able to get to a lesson without having to pay for it. That's what's left. Unless they have paid for it and the system has captured their email and contact information, they can't go to those pages. It stops them. It opens up the order page. But I will be working on those very soon, and I'll be able to get them all done and set up with that proper protection feature, and then those pages will work like they're supposed to, and the site will be ready to go. Now that's a pretty exciting living the dream experience. Don't you agree? Anyway, my power statement for this morning once again said I will start and finish the next task that's at the top of my Ontaport to-do list for today. And once I check that one, I'll check. I will go to the next task in line at the top that's just under that one. And I'll continue to do this one at a time until they're either done with that list or I will run out of time for the day. And so here's my to-do list that I started with this morning. It's right here. All those three yellow highlights are all checked off. Bam! Done. Love that. My number one most important task for today was to review the Zoom video I got from Edwin and his email that I got last night so I could get started on doing the rest of the Enjoy Your Lesson pop-up pages and their linking and editing of the emails to protect them. They're all part of that campaign. For my fun task for today, it was to review the account page that Fahad was finally able to finish getting all set up and working correctly. I wanted to make sure it looked like Jody Moore's account page does, and Fahad got mine to look even better. I couldn't believe it. It was great. At least I think so. I just needed to have him fix a couple of things on it. Bam! Checked. And my exciting task for today was to update the remaining website tasks list that Fahad has left to do since he finished several tasks yesterday. So let me show you these lists right here. That's one page, and there's a second page. I just want to read a few of them. The podcast players. Now, you notice on my website when you'll see that it's not quite ready to do this yet, there's a sign up for the following podcast players. Little Apple podcast links, little Android podcast links, and an RSS feed podcast link that are on my podcast page, both on the main pages and on the podcast that opens up and plays. On that landing page, there's the good to know as well, but there's three little buttons on that page as well. And then once that's done, he was to get those RSS feed URLs from my SoundCloud account and get them to Fahad to link with these three podcast icons. So when people click on it, it goes right to my Mindset is Everything podcast player and lists those 5 podcasts. They can click and play, just like Jody Morse does. Bam! Testimonial section. I've got that there, and little Julie Mann's pictures right there. And I'm going to get a video from her, and then I'm going to get some more testimonials as thing goes on and add them so then the pagination can work. But I can move and it goes live without that even being done. The content page, I'm not quite ready for this one as yet, is to fix the text links to match up with their respective Zoom webinar coaching calls. You know, on that content, there's a month that says, and it shows the dates when the videos are done and they're put there for people to watch later, and it'll have those dates. Once that starts to happen, Fahad will add those links and they'll just be placeholders for now. And the call schedule page, I will prepare 12 calendar Zoom call schedules. Right now it shows September, but it'll be December or it'll be January, and the 8 dates there for my Zoom calls in February and March. I'm going to get the whole year's done with the right dates that are Tuesdays and Thursdays and all those links enlisted there, and have that ready for him to change it out each month so that it can be ready to go for the next month once it starts. My Insights page, I will be doing the following business owner interviews. Joe Carbone left to be done, and Darlene Taylor's left to be done. So I've got to do that. And then I'll do more as we go. Right now that'll be 3, and then we'll do more, and then there'll be pagination on that. And hopefully someday there'll be 100. Okay, my membership cancellation request form and my membership checklist sheets, and links. That's it for him on the website. And then I have my master. Remember that master page? It was pages after pages after pages. There's now this master to-do list. And it says testimonial section, social media, contacts, call schedule, insights page, which is what I just went over with you. And then I've got to do the appointment and start that January 1st. I don't have to do it this month because I'm still working on that. And then when it goes live and people need to order a lesson, whatever, that appointment task is going to be paid for. And then membership cancellation, I said, and membership checklist, I said. And then I'm going to set up a mastermind group and forum, which I talked about. And then the website chat, I'm going to maybe hopefully have a chat there. People can click and I'll see it and I'll answer them back and forth. And then constant contact, that's all closed out. I'm going to have and make sure I have the right emails from them. And then there's a list of pages of miscellaneous things. And that's all, the master list. Bam, done. It's so exciting to see these lists getting smaller and smaller. Anyway, let's go ahead and review my end of the day success routine questions. Get honest with yourself, Marty. What didn't go well today? Or what could you have done better today? Did you wake up early and start strong? For a Saturday, I was up at 7 o'clock. Man, oh man, for a Saturday. Years ago, I wouldn't never think of doing that. I'd stay up late on a Friday and sleep in. Unless I had something really important I had to get up to. Well, now I have important everything every day, getting up early to get on with it. Did you start your morning with power? Cold blast of water on my face. Made my bed, win the morning, win the day routine. Absolutely, absolutely. Start strong, stay strong, end strong. Were you productive throughout your day? Well, you saw those things that I got done. Did you get the most important ones done? Check, check, check. Did you move your goals forward pieces through the portal of my mind? Through my actions of doing those tasks, manifested them into the world of the physical. Just like my videos probably shows that little moving out of all these breaking up things, and then it comes back in and forming something. Those are little pieces. I like that. It kind of explains what it's like to have pieces come into the portal and manifest itself. Did you move your goals forward? Yes. Did you show up as the person you wanted to today? For Saturday, I did. Kathleen, a lot of fun things she wanted to go and do, and so I did my things. We had time together for sure, but she was doing some things, and I was doing some things. She was doing some Christmas shopping, and about later on in the afternoon, I watched it and wanted to watch a football game. What about your personal time with Kathleen? We had a nice evening together. She was present for me. I was present for her. Next are my end of the day success routine accountability questions. Were you honest with yourself about today's task? Marty, in other words, did you keep your promises that you made to yourself this morning? Well, this morning I promised that I would review the video that Edwin did for me so that I could start working on getting the thank you pages set up like he did with those protections that I want them to have. There's several pieces, and it was quite complicated. So you have to write it down and watch it, write it down and watch it. I also promised that I would make sure that Fahad got the last fixes for the account page done by the end of the day today, so that page could be done. And lastly, I promised that I would update the remaining task list, which I showed you, and get it all typed out. Check, check, check. And like I showed you, I kept my promises. So bam, done. Way to go, Marty. The next question is, what movies did you watch during your mindfulness time today, Marty? Did you make time for them? And were there any new instant preplay movies that called up onto your screen of your mind? Well, besides my must-see TV favorite 5 movies, I watched the instant preplay movie I watched yesterday morning again. It called up to my mind again. It was of me getting the email from Edwin and watching that video that he did for me. It again is where he made those pop-up pages to be protected so that everything is protected. They can't get access to viewing the video lesson unless they paid for it. I think I watched it because I wanted to see how well I had imagined it and compared it to the real thing that I watched this morning when I first got up to my office and did my first startup in the day. And then I clicked on that video and watched. It was so close and showed even more pieces all working together like it was planned out perfectly. It was a fantastic and exciting little pre-play message. Okay, my next question says, what's the one thing that would make all the difference going forward? What one thing can I do better tomorrow? Even the day goes sideways getting it done, I'd still feel like a success. What would that one thing be? Now turn it into a power statement. Well, of course, I'm still focused on finishing all the remaining Ontaport tasks and helping Fahad get finished with his task too. But since tomorrow's a Sunday, my power statement simply says, I'll do all I can to sharpen my saw. Period. The next question of my end of the day success routine is to ask myself, Were there any mistakes or failures that you may have made today that you can turn into a tool of success going forward? Well, there was no failures today. I worked up until a football game, like I said, that I wanted to watch came on. It was somewhere around 3 p.m., I think, today, maybe 2:30, but anyhow. And so my day was shortened a little bit, but I still got a lot done. The next question is, what was your biggest success today, Marty? What did you do well today? Well, my biggest success today was getting all of my web pages finished and their fixes all done, except for the protection pieces that I'm working on through that video and with Edwin. I'm sure I have to do some more on Monday, getting the chat going so I get it perfectly. That was a big success to get those pages working. My next end of the day success routine question asked me to rate my day's effort. I decided to give today's effort a 7. I worked at the speed of 10 up until about the time my football game came on, and so I dinged the effort of the day by 3 points because I only worked 3/4 of the day. I think that's okay because part of my dream is to be able to look in the mirror, say hi to my boss, and ask the boss if I can stop working for the day, and being able to tell myself, because I'm the boss, absolutely, take the day off. Bam, done. That's the dream, man. Okay, I want to end the day strong. Here's what I'm grateful for today. I'm grateful for the principle that says the most important thing you can do to achieve your goals is to make sure that as soon as you set them, you immediately begin to create momentum. Far too many people set goals and don't follow through, right? We've seen it. It's happened to ourselves. They get inspired in the moment. They get all pumped up, but 3 weeks later, they're not following through on anything that they've written down as a goal. Writing a goal is certainly the second step of goal setting. It is, yeah. Remember, the first step, of course, is getting honest with ourselves, right? Making sure we do the right thing and think right. Then the second step is to write an inspiring and motivating goal down on paper and set a time that we're going to get it done. But most people don't do this. The action of committing our ideas to paper and dating them begins to make them more real to us. It starts that mapping on our brain. And then we repeat it over and over and over and over, and it starts to lay that down, and the other things fade. The most important rules to adopt for achieving our goals begins with getting them on paper and then setting a date when you intend to reach those goals. And then, before you even leave that place where you wrote them down as you sat in your office or in the kitchen or downstairs or wherever in the park when you're writing them down, you take some form of positive action toward its attainment right then and there, such as going to the movies, where you sit down and go pre-play that movie of your dream and start taking notes of all the pictures of things or achievements that you see in your mind's vision, and then write them down and then break them down into tasks for their attainment. That's action for sure. These principles lead to the next thing that I'm grateful for, which is to talk about the law of momentum, which says getting started, whether it's a business or a blog or whatever, it's always the hardest part of the process because you need more energy than if you just don't do anything. But once you're in motion, once you get yourself on that rocket launched, you have momentum working for you now, and therefore you need less energy to keep moving and keep it going. It's true. This is why I did the podcast episode 2, which I called Starting is Half Done. Starting takes energy for sure, just like a rocket needs more power under it than the weight of the rocket itself, so that the rocket can begin to start moving and go up. That's momentum pushing them up. This is why I suggest that we have a powerful goal that is more powerful than just sitting on our duff. I'm just kidding. This leads me to the next thing I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for Darius Farrow, who said, "The key to everything in life that requires motion is found in this question. How much force do you need to get an object moving?" Particularly yourself. When you launch a rocket, you want to make sure it keeps going, right? Too often we only think about starting something in life, such as a business, a new job, a YouTube channel, or a new habit, for example, and do so without giving much thought to what happens after we start. The reason is that starting is hard. It requires a lot of energy, and when we get over the start, we often burn up on our fuel, our dream fuel. Imagine if SpaceX designed a rocket that launched perfectly but would burn out somewhere before it reached the orbit it was seeking to go to. everything would come crashing down, right? And yet that's how most of us operate in life. Why would we expend so much energy to get ourselves moving only to crash later on? I suggest that instead of working against Newton's laws, we work with them, especially the third law, which is known as the law of momentum. This law states that an object will keep moving in the same direction unless it's influenced by an external force. This principle has two consequences. First, it's easier to keep a moving object in motion. And second, it's harder to stop a moving object in motion. The first one is obvious, of course. The second implication of the law of momentum is often neglected in business and careers and productivity and habit building. I'll just start with this. If we can start immediately and get our momentum going right off the bat and then keep up our momentum, we're more likely to keep going because we're now very difficult to stop. How long does it take to build momentum, you ask? If you're truly committed to starting something, get started now, immediately, but then make sure that you keep going. That last part is the most important thing. You must keep going until you reach a point that you're unstoppable. In my experience, it usually takes 2 years for most folks and most worthwhile things in life to get to this point of unstoppability or unstoppableness, if that's a word. This is not an answer most of us like to hear. We prefer it to be maybe 2 weeks or something like that. But we need patience, and that will be a lot easier if we respect this law of momentum. When you start something new, like a business, give it all your attention for the first 2 years, if you can do that. I suggest that you don't start until you can. So if you can't do that, don't start. Otherwise, you end up in a cycle of starting and quitting and starting and quitting. You start creating a mental habit and you don't believe you can ever do something. And that takes a lot out of you, emotionally and otherwise. There's only one exception to the law of momentum. This principle only works in one direction. It's easy to keep the momentum of a business, for example, going, but if you want to move in another direction, all of a sudden you can't count on that same momentum to follow you because you become a divided person and you will fail. If you stop doing the one, it's like keeping those things spinning a little bit. Unless it's gone to the point where you've got real momentum going and you're unstoppable, that's a different story. Sometimes we need to move into another direction, and I know that for some reason that happens. And that's fine, especially if you're stuck in a directionless career or a directionless business. Under those circumstances, it might be better to quit and make a change and go in a different direction. But then, don't start down that new direction and want to go in a new direction before 2 years is up again. Don't start saying, oh, I got to do this, and you start and stop and sputter and start and stop, new direction and start and stop. Stay focused and let the law of momentum help you. Don't work against it. You know, the law of gravity, when we get up on a roof and we jump off a home's roof, we don't break the law of gravity, we confirm it. We don't start floating all around. That's breaking the law of gravity. We go, damn, and you think, man, that hurt. Well, you just confirm the law of gravity. And that's what we do is we confirm these laws. We never break them. I'm going to leave it here for tonight. I'll just leave it right there. Of course, you know I'll be right back here at my laptop again tomorrow night sharing my video journal entries. But until then, I wish you continued success. Good night.